We're ready for takeoff. So, I finished reading this book on Friday. I started it Wednesday. Today is Sunday. I have not given myself a really long time to process emotionally what it is that I read. Simultaneously, it's been the only thing on my mind for the last like however many days that is. So we're just gonna go through this together. We're gonna deconstruct this together. Oh my God. Hello. Welcome back to a new day, a new sleigh, and a new video where I have something to say. And I don't know how I'm gonna like string together all the things that I have to say about this next book. Oh my God. Okay, little backstory. I bought this book, I think, what year did this come out? 2022? Okay, so Ace of Spades originally came out on June 1st, 2021. Now, I bought this book, I want to say 2023 and or 2022, but I bought this book from my local secondhand bookstore, and they had a signed copy. I don't know if you can see that. And at the time, I had not read it. I had not really heard of it. But I was just like, oh my God, I could have a signed book in my possession. So I was like, let me just buy it. So I bought it, and it came with a little like sticker with the author's signature, annotations from the author. Needless to say, this book, this piece of gold that I had no idea was in my collection, sat on my bookshelf for an absurdly long time. So The Ace of Spades was written by Farida Abike-Imide. I hope I am hitting all the syllables. I did hear how she pronounces her name. She had a first draft of Ace of Spades by her second semester of college, so her freshman year. It was published the end of her senior year. I did go to school with someone, and I remember in like my junior year, this girl was like, yeah, my book's being published. And me personally, if I was in college at the same time as this author and she said, yeah, my book's about to be published, I think I would drop out. I'm like, what are you doing here, girl? You won. You've made it. The rest of us still have a ways to go. But yeah, that's absolutely so amazing. And reading it, I understand everything. I picked up this book, and I like have scheduled a lot of the books that I want to read for this year. I have this thing where like I really don't like to look up the summary of books, especially like for this project, that I like to be surprised a little bit. So I found the audiobook, and the audiobook had like a really good soundtrack. Like it had like a nice little song beat thingy to it. It was really good. What should have signaled to me that maybe this book was gonna like absolutely wreck me was the beginning. So let me read that to you so we can both experience this together. First of all, the dedication for all the Black kids drowning in the sunken place, desperately trying to claw their way out. This book is for you. That's just one part. And then we have in the audiobook, the first like quote is said by Chiamaka's voice actor, and then the second one is from Devon's voice actor. So let me just read that for you, just so you know the headspace I was in. I'm not a voice actor. I was told by my voice acting teacher, because I did try to take lessons for it, that my vocal fry is so bad that I would probably not make it in the industry. So let me just take a crack at this. They say life is full of surprises, that our dreams really can come true. Then again, so can our nightmares. Gossip Girl. All I know is sometimes, if there's too many white folks, I get nervous. Get out. Now imagine you're me, like just starting up the audiobook casual, like I'm clicky clacking on my computer, right? Just being business, business, business. And then all of a sudden, I hear a quote from Gossip Girl and Get Out. I have never been more scared, unnerved in my life. And it really set the tone. It set the tone so perfectly for what we're about to get into. So without further ado, here's the synopsis. I'll give a spoiler-free summary right now. So this book is about two students at Nivius Academy, which is a private school. So these two students are Chiamaka. I'm sorry, I like blanked on their last names for a second. Chiamaka Adebayo. Yeah, because she corrects the other characters because they say Adebayo, but it's Adebayo. Chiamaka Adebayo and Devon Richards. In their senior year of high school, they start getting anonymous texts along with the entire school from an unknown entity called Aces. And Aces is spreading all their secrets, all their dirty laundry out for the entire school to see. These two must team up to figure out who is out to get them. That summary is putting it very lightly. I'm being deceptive right now because I need you to go on this roller coaster ride like me. I'm not extending any courtesy to y'all. I'm not explaining it more because you just need to read it. Anyway, let's get into the in-depth analysis slash synopsis now. Spoilers ahead. This book is separated into 3 parts. So we're on part 1, which is called Ivory Tower. In this section, it's their first day of school. They're getting into like an assembly, right? In this assembly, I think we're in Devon's perspective. Yes, we're in Devon's perspective. It is a Monday. And they are announcing who the prefects are going to be, which, side note, okay, I'm not going to lie. I really played into like the very ignorant, stupid American trope for a second because the only other time I'd heard prefect was in Harry Potter. So I didn't think it was a real thing. And then ironically enough, I was having a conversation with my boyfriend. I don't know how it came up, but he was like, oh yeah, we have prefects at our school. And I was like, you had what? We had prefects. I was like, you're fucking kidding. That's not real. He's like, yeah, we did. So that's how I learned that prefects were real. And that happened like, I think 2 years ago. But regardless, they're crowning the prefects. It's 4 prefects. One of them is Devon Richards, who is one of our main characters, one of our 2 perspectives for this story. And notably, just like a very shy kid. He like keeps to himself. He doesn't really attract a lot of attention. So he was really caught off guard when he was announced prefect. Oh my God. You know what I just realized? Hold on. I still have the remnants from the Black Queen video. Anyway, so along with Devon for prefect is the head senior prefect, who is Chiamaka Adebayo. Chiamaka is like the it girl. She's the Alison De Laurentiis, Blair Ward. Anyway, the girl from Gossip Girl. Or is that Gilmore Girls? I haven't seen any of those shows. I didn't even see Pretty Little Liars, if I'm honest. I only saw part of it. Anyway, she's the it girl. She's like perfect, all the best grades, best wardrobe. She's got her like little group of girls with her. She is the person everyone wants to be. So notably during this assembly, and something that kind of like gets a little swept under the rug by Devon, is that they're watching like something, I guess like a presentation of some sort, and something flashes on the screen and it's like a playing card, the ace of spades, if you will. And he notices that no one else is really fazed by this, and he's like, okay. So Chiamaka has notably two other friends. Those are Ruby, who is a bitch. She is one of the other prefects, as well as Ava. She's British, I guess. Chiamaka makes a note that like these girls necessarily aren't her friends, but she maintains relationships with them like for her reputation's sake. Like anything she does, like girl is playing chess over here. Everyone else is playing the high school game of checkers. She's playing chess. Once she makes her move, then she'll be free to check the king. We're also introduced to Jamie, her best friend, notably not her boyfriend, although she says that she is going to change that because together they will be the power couple of the school. They have to be together. Chiamaka's whole existence is that she needs to be on the top. She needs to make sure that like she is like the absolute best. Anything that she has done throughout her high school career has all been leading up to her being head prefect her senior year, her getting crowned at like the snowflake ball, which will be happening sometime later on in this book, and for her to like have all these connections, go to Yale and be a doctor. That's everything she's been working for. Meanwhile, Devon is working incredibly hard to get into Juilliard. He is a music student. On this Monday, he goes to his locker because he was in the music room doing his little thing. He makes notes that in the senior year of a lot of the Nivea students, they can kind of ditch class to work on whatever senior projects they have that'll help them get into college. So he is working on a music piece to get into Juilliard. So he is in his music classroom. He goes to his locker to fetch some sheet music because he doesn't have any. But when he goes, he notices that everyone is like looking at him and he's like, what is happening? This girl named Mindy Lyon tells him that there are photos circulating of him kissing another boy. Wait, I don't have my mic. Be who you are for your pride. Anyway, I don't have my mic with me. Otherwise, I would hit that really hard. So Devon is actually gay, but he is not necessarily out at Nivius or to his mother. His mother is incredibly religious and he's afraid that she won't accept him, which is really sad. But he hasn't told anyone. But he did have a boyfriend on the down low, Scotty. And Scotty notably also dated Chiamaka. Although theirs was like a fake dating relationship because like it was really convenient for both of them. Whatever. So he sees that these pictures are circulating and he's like, oh my god, I'm gonna kill him, man. We jump into Chiamaka's perspective. Chiamaka believes that her best friend Jamie is gonna confess his feelings for her and then they're gonna start dating. They go out together. I forget what they call it. So they go to something called Lola's, which is like their little code for, oh, I need to talk to you in secret. It's not an actual place, but it's just like, I need to talk to you. So they go to Lola's, which in this instance is like just a bench outside. And Jamie tells her that he has feelings for someone she knows, someone she might be really familiar with. Some girl named Belle. I know. It's actually some girl that he's like, yeah, I'm in love with her. And Chiamaka is really taken back and she's like, that's not what I was expecting to hear. Because secretly on the down low, since their junior year, they've been kissing and hooking up. So she was expecting for him to finally be honest about his own feelings and say that he wanted to be with her, but he didn't. So she was really upset about it, but she was like, okay, yeah, fine. Be with your little amiguita. It's not going to last long. And then also T. So while Chiamaka is looking at Jamie and she's really upset that he hasn't confessed his feelings to her, she has a sudden flashback memory to something that happened over the summer with her and Jamie. Now, this incident that we recall with Chiamaka, they were driving home one night where suddenly Jamie was the one behind the road. He's driving, right? He's going beep, beep, honk, honk. And he was not paying attention and he hit a girl on the road. Chiamaka is very freaked out. She's like, we need to go see if she's okay. And she's like frozen in place. And Jamie is freaking out because he's like, no one can know that I did this. My dad is going to kill me. And he flees the scene of the crime with Chiamaka in the passenger seat. Since this moment, she's tried confronting him and talking to him about the incident, like obsessively trying to like find police reports, call hospitals, anything to see if like that girl died or if she lived or what happened to her. But Jamie eventually is like, nope. No, what are you talking about? Chiamaka, what are you talking about, girl? I don't even like own a car. Like, you're acting crazy. Like, gaslighting, absolute definition of gaslighting is what he's doing to her. Chiamaka has nightmares every single night thinking about this incident, and it really eats her up inside. Understandably so. One thing that I will mention that really unnerved me, again, also with the quote from the beginning of the book, when she's remembering this moment, something that she repeats over and over is, I need to get out. Which has so many meanings, because she's saying like, I need to get out of the car to see if she's okay, and then also just she needs to get out. Yeah, so just know that happens. Then we're in Devon's perspective. It is now Tuesday, the next day. Devon's worried that his neighborhood will find out that he was kissing Scotty and that he's gay, because at his previous school, Devon was very heavily bullied, very heavily beaten by the other boys at the school because they thought that he was gay. And that was just like they thought, okay? Like, so he can only imagine what will happen to him, his family, and specifically his best friend Jack. So Jack is also from the same neighborhood, and Jack is very angry at Devon for like not keeping it on the down low, because he's afraid that if the people like in their neighborhood see Jack and Devon hanging out, that they will like hit him too and beat him very badly. And Devon is very sympathetic and he's like, yeah, like I get it, I understand, which is doing so much more than he needs to be doing. Like, I can't imagine having to make that decision to be like, yeah, I understand that you don't want to be friends with me because of my identity and who I am. That's so hard. Devon also confronts Scotty, who is an asshole. He's like, oh, why did you leak those pictures? And Scotty was like, I didn't, but you know, you're not camera shy. Literally a dickhead. Also, what happens on Tuesday, this mysterious person who we now know is Aces tells the school that Chiamaka was rejected by Jamie. Chiamaka does everything she can to save face. She was like, That didn't happen. This person is spreading lies. Her and Jamie also go to a candy store because they have this tradition. Jamie was diagnosed as diabetic at some point during his lifetime. So every Tuesday, they go to a candy store and get some candy. And then they also go to a Waffle House because it's like his one day of indulgence since he can't eat a lot of candy. He's diabetic and all. While they're at this candy store, the owner accuses Chiamaka of stealing candy. And she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I didn't take anything. This man puts his dirty little fingers in her jacket and fishes around and takes out a piece of licorice. And she's like, I have no idea how that got there. And even Jamie is like, Chiamaka. And she is like freaking out because she's like, who put this in my pocket? I didn't take it. And she's especially mad that Jamie is almost like believing the shopkeeper. So she's very upset about it. They cancel their plans. They go home. We are now on Devon's perspective. It is Wednesday. I really like how the author talks about Devon's home, and I specifically wrote down like the quote that he says, like, in this home there is so much love, and I'm like, ugh, it's so beautiful. And they just go into like this very detailed description of all the things that are mismatched, like very heavily showing the poverty that he is living in, but despite all that there's so much love in their home. And it's like, oh my god, because like thinking about that and the fact that he's so afraid to tell his mom that he's gay because he doesn't think that she will accept him is like, it's so multifaceted. Oh my god. Devon goes to Andre's house, this other boy in the neighborhood, to ask him for help with the picture of him and Scotty. Now, when he gets to Andre's house, we find out that Andre is actually his boyfriend. Andre is also a drug dealer. Andre also apparently got that text from Aces with the picture. And Devon is terrified because he was already afraid that somehow the neighborhood was going to find out. Now it's even worse because he thought that Aces was only texting the people at the school. But now that he knows that it's like that Aces can also text people outside, like how do they even get Dre's phone number, right? Like he's very nervous. And Andre's like, it's okay, we'll get this figured out. But in the meantime, you need to lay low. And Devon is like, I can do that. Devon goes to school early, and that's when he gets the text message from Aces. Again, Aces has sent a text message every single day since Monday. He gets the message that Chiamaka was found stealing at the candy store. We are in Chiamaka's perspective now. She is with Jamie and Belle in science class. Jamie and Belle are now dating, and she's like loathing having to be the third wheel in this couple. They're all in science class, and the teacher says that one of the lab representative people left the storage room unlocked and some things were taken. Who is the lab storage person in charge of? Chiamaka. So Chiamaka is stripped of her title. They take the key back, and this is all done publicly. So she is humiliated. So after she's accused and she's humiliated, they all get the text from Aces, and it's a video of Devon and Scotty participating in some activities that should not be distributed without consent. Devon goes to confront Scotty, but he denies distributing the video, and he denies that he's Aces because he's like, why would I incriminate myself? But it's important to note that Devon also mentions like earlier on in the book that another boy at their school had come out of the closet and he was very celebrated and revered. The notable difference is that that guy was white. Devon and Chiamaka are the only two black kids at this school. Everyone else is white. Okay, so there are some differences in their stories. Anyway, yeah, everyone is comforting Scotty. They're like, poor Scotty. Why is all of his business being shared out to the world? No one is comforting Devon. I wonder why. Back with Chiamaka, her, Belle, and Jamie are all at her house. They're having a movie date that was supposed to only be Chiamaka and Jamie. They have this like friend tradition that they watch like Marvel movies, I guess. Belle is really crashing their little date. Chiamaka is really shitting on this girl. Like bad. She is like the girl best friend trope, I will say. She's really playing into that. Jamie left a piece of paper at Chiamaka's house that she thinks is one of his passwords for something. It's the numbers 1717, 1717. And that means nothing to you right now, but I'm spiraling. Chiamaka is also making a list of all the people she thinks Aces might be. Like she has like a suspect list, but she's like, the things that Aces is doing are like very advanced. I mean, they're sending texts to every single person in the school. Like that's got to take some tech work, you know? So she's like, anyone that I think it is probably too stupid to be Aces, but she's on the case. It's now Thursday. Jack so kindly decides to be seen with Devon and they walk to school together, Aces texts Devon that Jack is doing drugs. Devon immediately confronts Jack because, as we learn, Jack's mother died from a drug overdose. His father went to prison for drugs, and he knew that Jack had always sworn that he was never gonna go down that route. He was not gonna touch anything related to drugs. So he is confronting Jack, and Jack is like, do you really know me as well as you think you do? And Devon is like really nervous, really unnerved. He's worried about his friend. Also on Thursday, Chiamaka, Jamie, Belle are all having lunch together. Belle is talking to Chiamaka and she's like really throwing the shade right back at her. She rolls her eyes at her. We're like, whoa, the girls are fighting. Chiamaka is getting really, really worried about Aces. Obviously, she has some things to hide. She may or may not be an accomplice to murder. She's really, really, really worried. Jamie is like kind of being dismissive of her because like Chiamaka is jumping anytime anyone's phone rings because, as we learn, the person that the message is about won't get the text from Aces. Chiamaka has really no way to know if Aces is talking about her unless she learns that they got a text from like other people, right? She ends up breaking down in the bathroom and Belle goes to comfort her. She picks the lock of the bathroom she locked herself in. That's really glossed over. They all get a text from Aces, which is not about Chiamaka this time. It's about Devon. Aces reveals that Devon was at Dre's house. Chiamaka actually ends up texting Scotty because she doesn't know that Devon already asked him, but she's like, Scotty, are you Aces? Because you're the only connection between the two of us. Like, we both dated you. And Scotty was like, no, actually, I think we should talk. And they end up talking about Jamie's party that happened his junior year. And Chiamaka's like, I really don't remember that night because she was like super uber drunk. She only remembers that was like the first night that she kissed Jamie. And she has a memory of someone pushing her down and that she was crying. And she specifically remembers that because during their science class, which I don't know how this exactly gets brought up in a science class, but their teacher was saying that when you mix chemicals together, they can have like reactions, and specifically mixing alcohol and sleeping drugs can cause amnesia. And then she remembers this like fragmented memory of the party, and it's a little scary. Now we are on Friday. Devon finds out about Ace's text about him and Dre and that he was seen outside his house. Dre asks to talk to Devon. They go over to his house and they have a very tearful and sad breakup. Dre says that they can no longer be seen together, and he yells at Devon to leave his house, in which his boys, aka the people that are in his like crew, quote unquote, beat up Devon very badly, very heavily. And it's so emotional and so painful because like between blows, as he's getting borderline beaten to death, he is just hearing in Dre's voice like, I love you, over and over. And it's just so heartbreaking and so painful, but so very powerful. Someone named Terrell ends up saving Devon. He takes him back to his home, gets him all bandaged up, and because he saw what the guys were doing to Devon, apparently they have a history together. Terrell tells him that he was his first kiss, and Devon cannot remember this kiss happening at all. This is also the chapter that we learn Devon doesn't go to Dre's house just because they're like boyfriend and boyfriend. He apparently also in the past had done drop-offs for Dre to get extra cash for his mother because, again, they are in very, very deep poverty. So Devon is worried that this will also come out. We are now on Monday. It's been 1 week since Aces has revealed themselves and started sending out all those text messages, right? We're on Chiamaka's perspective. Apparently, Chiamaka straightens her hair every single day, and she makes a specific distinction that she doesn't not like her hair. She loves her hair, but she knows that people obviously pay more attention to her because of the texture of her hair. She doesn't like to be pet, poked, prodded for her hair texture, so she just straightens it so that people won't bother her. But this morning, there is a power outage, so she cannot straighten her hair. So she has to wear her natural, very textured, curly hair. On that same day, when they go to school, Aces reveals 2 things. 1, that Devon deals drugs. 2, that Chiamaka and Jamie have a history of hooking up. And everyone's like, oh my god, poor Belle. Belle goes to confront Chiamaka. She tells Jamie that they can't be friends anymore and that she's like, your little traditions, your little like hangouts, hard stop. We're not doing that. You are no longer going to be the third wheel of this tricycle. Jamie and Chiamaka also get into a fight, and Chiamaka ends up punching a freshman girl that is spectating. Need I remind you, she's head prefect. She really shouldn't be punching anyone. So she gets called into Principal Ward's office, and he's like, I'm going to let it slide, kind of, but you're on my radar, girl. And she's like, okay. Also on Monday, Devon sees Jack and he's smoking a joint. I'm not familiar in these terms. He makes the connection and like kind of realizes that the only reason that Aces announced this, because prior to this, like, it's all the announcements have only been about Devon and Chiamaka. So he realizes that the only reason Aces revealed this about Jack was because he knew, or they knew rather, that it was going to hurt Devon more than anything. Jack didn't really care when it was brought up, and he didn't necessarily care about his own reputation, thus like kind of solidifying in his mind that Aces is only out to hurt Devon and Chiamaka. So Tuesday, next day, they have a prefects meeting. Before this meeting, Devon finds a USB drive in his locker, stickered or like taped rather onto an Ace of Spades card. When he loads it, and the minute this happened, I was like, this is a not good idea. This is absolutely not a good idea. But again, it just builds up to this like sense of dread where you're like, this is not a good plan. And you as the reader know it's not, but the characters just don't know. And you just have to sit there and know that something bad is going to happen. And then they don't. Anyway, so Devon loads up this USB onto a school computer. He opens the USB, he looks at the files, and it's all evidence against Chiamaka. Everything she's ever done is all here. He specifically sees a file labeled murderer, and he's like, he decides against it. He takes out the USB and he's like, I'm gonna deal with this later. So they go to the prefect meeting and everything's chill, everything's fine. But then the principal has Chiamaka and Devon stay after to talk to him. And the principal is like, we got an anonymous tip that you guys are actually aces and are trying to destroy the other person's reputation. And they're both like, what are you talking about? We didn't do that. They're very confused. But the principal does not let them speak, does not let them defend themselves. And instead, he strips them both of their prefect titles, so they both get detention. Devon is on like a 3-week probation, and he's like, Chiamaka, I'm gonna strip this from you. It'll be an indefinite stripping of your title. They are both very, very upset. They're both like, okay, we're not aces. Oh, so they both figure out that they each got a USB flash drive that morning rather. So they both go to the library to load it up on the computers again, but they realize all the folders have been wiped. And they're like, okay, someone must have programmed these and planted them on each of them, because the principal said that they found from their school accounts that these files had been viewed or whatever. So they were like, oh yeah, you guys are doing this to each other. So Devon's like, someone must have programmed these to have like their data be immediately wiped after they've been viewed. So they're like, okay, this is really intricate. This is really deep. We're not dealing with some random person here. And now we're on part 2. X marks the spot. So we're in Chiamaka's perspective. Today is Tuesday again. Oh, Chiamaka is walking home because she doesn't drive anymore. Obviously, she has a lot of trauma. Trust me, I get that. I've been in a few car accidents myself. It took me a really long time to be comfortable in a passenger seat. For a long time after that. I'm gonna say a year. So I get her. I feel her. She's walking home and Belle confronts her again. And she's like, ugh, I gotta tie my hair up. I gotta beat this. I'm just kidding. Belle apparently has broken up with Jamie, and they decide that they're going to be friends now. Oh my god. So Terrell and Devon are now hanging out on a playground. This is Wednesday. Everyone's making friends. I love it. So they're hanging out, and they have like a heart-to-heart, and Terrell, I underlined this. So Devon is telling Terrell a little bit about aces and all the texts that have been going out, and Terrell's like, so you mean to tell me that this anonymous person has only been sending messages about the only 2 Black students at the school? And Devon's like, no, it's not a race thing. And Terrell says, I don't trust white people like you do. I obviously don't think they're all murderers, but I think they are all racist. It sounds wild, I know, but racism is a spectrum, and they all participate in it some way. They don't all have white hoods or call us mean things, I know that. But racism isn't just about that. It's not about being nice or mean or good versus bad. It's bigger than that. We're all in this bubble being affected by the past. The moment they decided they got to be white and have all the power, and we got to be Black and be at the bottom, everything changed. If we can't talk about it honestly, and I mean really talk about it, then what's the point? He said, I read some Malcolm X last year and I agree with him. Some might even treat you good, like an owner might treat a pet. I'm also going to preface now that this book is also a banned book. I wonder why some people might not want this in their libraries. So they're talking about aces, but Devon's like, okay, let's talk about something else. So they start playing around and then they kiss. Devon is kind of freaked out because, again, he just broke up with his boyfriend. He is having a lot of emotions right now. So he ends up actually running away. So the next day, which is Thursday, Terrell is like really chill with him. He's like, yeah, it's fine. I don't mind too much that you ran away from my kiss. That's okay. He tells him that he deserves a lot better than Dre because he's like, how could he realistically want for you to get beaten versus him? And it's a valid question. Now we are on Friday. Chiamaka and Devon have detention together. She tells him that she hired a hacker in their school to help them crack the case about who Aces is. Chiamaka and Belle are also hanging out like a lot, which is great for them. I'm glad that they can be best friends, especially because Belle was like, her whole reason for her wanting to be friends with Chiamaka was that she was like, you know, I kind of jumped the gun. I was not being a girl's girl for a second, you know? So she's like, I am trying to be a girl's girl now. In this chapter, Devon is struggling. His mom is having a really hard time paying their bills. Up to this point, Devon has been trying to provide any support he can by doing drop-offs on the side. He gets desperate enough where he asks Dre if he can come over because Dre is not giving him any work. And he's like, yeah, okay. So he goes over, but instead of, going for business, they end up, kissing and doing things together. And it's very emotional for him because he knows that even though he shouldn't, that he's very drawn to this person. He loved Dre, and it's very emotional to not be with him anymore, especially under such circumstances. We are on Tuesday. Chiamaka's perspective. She also goes back and forth between calling him Richards and Devon, which I'm like, okay, cool. So the tech dude that Chiamaka hired to kind of get to the bottom and figure out how Aces is doing this tells him that Aces uploads and schedules the messages to go out for the week, Sunday/Monday nights. So all these messages are pre-programmed using a computer in the Morgan Library, which is at the school. So together they plan to catch Aces on Sunday. Jamie also comes back to Chiamaka and tries to make everything go back to normal so they can be best friends again. She's like, okay, fine. We can be like amicable, but we're not back to being best friends. She's really coming to terms with the fact that Jamie might not be like as great of a person as she thought. She also makes a revelation during this time because now she has all the evidence that this tech dude has put together for her, and she realizes she's matching up the messages that Aces sent out with the timestamps of when they were programmed into the computer. The message about her in the candy shop was programmed for Sunday, but it didn't happen until Tuesday. How could Aces have known that it was going to happen on Sunday when it didn't happen until Tuesday? So she's like, someone definitely planted it and arranged for this to happen. Oh my god. Like, we're going above and beyond A right now because like A is like, okay, whatever, right? Aces scares me. We're now on Wednesday, Devon's perspective. Devon decides that he is going to skip school. He wants to hang out with Terrell. He's like, so much has been going on. I deserve a break, right? Since he's a senior, the school doesn't really care. They're like, yeah, just sign this form and you can go. He's like, okay, cool. So he tries to go to hang out with Terrell, but he's busy taking care of his sister. So Devon just kind of has to dip. And he's like, okay. So he goes back to the playground. He's just kind of like trying to clear his mind, do his best. When he realizes, he hears the click of a camera. Someone has taken his picture. He sees a hooded figure in the playground, right? And Devon tries to chase that person, but they end up disappearing amongst the rows and rows of like white picket fences and rich houses, right? That same day, Wednesday, Chiamaka is in detention, but she's noticeably alone. Obviously, Devon has called out of school earlier in the day, and she's really upset. Devon texts her that he saw Aces take a picture of him at the playground, and she's like, oh my god. Belle, who is on the lacrosse team, as we find out, was also after school during practice, so she goes to hang out with Chiamaka in detention. Chiamaka specifically talks about how whenever she's with Belle, she gets kind of flustered, she blushes, she's doing all these things. I wish I had my mic. Do I have a good replacement right now? You're coming home with me. I know, this is not my mic, but I have to hit this right now. Chiamaka is talking to Belle, and she decides to confess her feelings for her. Be who you are for your pride. They kiss. I know. I know. This is the next day. Devon and Chiamaka scope out the library to find some hiding places for their plan on Sunday. When they leave, Aces has put up 1,000,000 posters in all the hallways on all the lockers of Chiamaka passed out from that party that Jamie held his junior year. And she's passed out on the ground, surrounded by like dolls. Not only is she surrounded by all these pictures of herself that she has no idea were taken, like she's passed out on the ground. These pictures were not taken with her consent. She also sees Aces standing at the end of the hallway. Aces is holding a stack of flyers in their hand and they throw them up in the air, very like, I want to watch the world burn, Renee Rapp style. The pictures that Aces throws up are of the yearbook pictures of Devon and Chiamaka with their eyes crossed out. Devon sees the Principal Ward, pick up one of these posters and just crumple up and throw it in the trash and do nothing. Devon is like, you know what? I'm gonna get you. He like runs forward, tries to grab Aces, but all the like students in the hallway kind of like push him back because they're trying to grab the flyers that Aces threw up. Devon is absolutely furious. He's like ripping down these posters, helping them throw them all away. Later on, he goes to Terrell's house and they kind of like theorize together that maybe it's not a student because this is really like intricate, elaborate. It's probably a teacher. The next day, Friday, there is a text that goes out from Aces today where Aces hints that Chiamaka is a murderer. Aces has not revealed anything specifically. They drop some hints, okay? Chiamaka confronts Jamie about the incident and he accuses her of being the one that was driving. He was like, you were the one that was driving, Chiamaka. You were the one that hit that girl, even though I said that we should go back and try and help her. And she's like, you have got to be kidding me right now. Like the amount of gaslighting he's trying to do is crazy. She like finally sees his like mask drop. She sees past his facade. This dude is literally evil incarnate. Belle and Chiamaka walk home together after this. Belle tells her like she's bi, she's out, but she didn't want to like say anything or try to pressure Chiamaka into a relationship if she wasn't. And Chiamaka literally queen behavior. She's like, I don't really care too much about labels. She's like, the only person I've ever felt romantic feelings for that was of the same gender is you. And she never really put too much thought about it. She's like, I don't care. Literally queen behavior. She's like, I don't need your labels. After she walks Belle to her home, Chiamaka notices that there is a car that is trailing behind her that is like matching her pace and like is very obviously following her. And she's like, oh my God, it's Aces. She runs all the way home, like frantically goes into her gate, into her house, locks the door. This person knows the code for her gate, goes up directly to her door, slides in a little letter into the mail slot, and inside this letter are Polaroid pictures of Chiamaka in her bedroom. There are pictures of her after she has gotten out of the shower, pictures of her in her underwear. Oh my God. She gets incredibly scared and unnerved. She's panicking and she decides to call Devon. Aces also sends out a message to everyone about Devon and Terrell being seen together, and Aces texts her directly and is like, this is only a taste of it, Chiamaka. This is gonna get worse for you. And she's freaked out, so she calls Devon. We get Devon's perspective of this phone call and she tells him about Aces, but Devon doesn't want to tell Terrell everything that has gone on because he doesn't want to worry him. Now we're on Saturday. Chiamaka goes over to Belle's house because she's like, there's no one at my home. What's important is that Belle has only one family photo in her home. Chiamaka tries to go up to look at it because she's just like, making conversation. She's like, oh my God, what does a little young Belle look like? And Belle is like freaked out. She's like, don't look at this picture. And Chiamaka's like, okay, fine. Weird. Now we are on D-Day. It is Sunday. It is the day that Devon and Chiamaka are going to find out who Aces is. So the tech person that told Chiamaka and Devon about like Aces posting schedule told them that this person has consistently logged in to computer 17. So they decide that they're going to scope out computer 17 to see who shows up. Chiamaka and Devon go to the school and they hide in the library. They catch someone going into the library and logging on into this computer. Chiamaka springs out of their hiding place and is like, time to figure out who you are, bitch. Chiamaka rushes forward. This person is wearing a mask, as they were previously in the hallway and on the playground. So Chiamaka runs forward, rips this person's mask off. But before Devon can rush forward and tie them up, Chiamaka is surprised. She's taken back frozen in place. Devon can't catch them. Aces runs out of the library. The only thing that Devon can see is like golden locks. Chiamaka essentially let Aces get away. Devon is angry with her, but she is like completely frozen. Something has really spooked her. She ends up running away from the library. Devon is not quick to leave the library. Instead, he turns around and sees that Computer 17 is not only on, but logged into a website.
I am here supporting you.
Assistant, if you will.
How's that?
We come to you live with an important announcement from future Kristen.
Hello, this is future Kristen. As was to be expectedly, this will be a part 1 and part 2. So thank you for joining us for part 1. Part 2 will be up shortly. It's technically recorded and edited, but I just need to upload it, which is surprisingly the hardest part. That's it. I hope you liked it. Find out what Devon found on the website in part 2. Thank you. Anything to say?